You are pushing the cutting edge of consciousness where it needs to go. So what is this shift that's happening? Well, this shift is the age-old battle between the over-dominating masculine energy and the submissive feminine energy, because these are not the original energetic roles of those frequencies. The masculine and feminine are supposed to be in harmony, like we see in the yin and the yang. This is an energetic battle that is happening within every individual's consciousness, men and women included, because masculine versus feminine energy is the ego over-dominating the body and the soul. There are two old types of masculinity that are fading out and not working anymore, let's say. And there's one new type of masculinity that's arising within the collective right now. So let's first talk about the two forms of masculinity that just don't work. So one of these forms of masculinity is the toxic masculine. It's the over-dominant energy. It is the way that our ego dominates our body and demands that we eat bad food, and our body really wants to eat healthy food and it's crying out for healthy food, but we force bad food down our own throats. So this isn't leadership, this is coercion. It's a form of dictatorship, and it's just telling people what to do and using fear or anger or other negative energies or negative consequences in order to keep people acting right. So this energy is pretty much seen as totally not working, but there's actually another energy that a lot of people still think is an aligned masculine energy, but it's not. And this is principle-based masculine energy. This is when you live your life based on principles, and if you don't live up to your principles, you use shame and judgment in order to get yourself and others to follow those principles. They all come from domination. So it's either the mind itself is dominated by principles, and these principles are dictating your reality. That's one form. Or it's just anger and pleasure and, base level emotions that they're commanding others to fall into line with. So both of these forms of masculine energy are based in dominant energy and dominating reality instead of working with reality as it is, working with the feminine. The new form of masculine energy that's coming up, that's a huge part of this shift on Earth, is masculine energy that listens to the feminine and responds accordingly. The new masculine energy is based on awareness, and that awareness is very in tune with love, and it's very in tune with the subtle nature of reality. Unlike a masculine-dominated, principle-based mind that just powers through reality as it is, looking for cues of which principles are applying to the situation. That's not awareness. It doesn't have a rule book. There's no principles you could live by that will allow you to be in this state. Sometimes what the moment calls for is completely out of alignment with the rule book. Let's talk about this shift because it's really important to get to the bottom of what's going on. If you look at most people that you know, they might have their bad traits, they might cause suffering here and there, but overall, aren't they pretty good people? And don't you think if most people in the world are like that, then it makes sense that eventually we could get to a place where we're all supporting each other and living for the betterment of humanity, at least to a degree where people aren't starving? Because what we forget is that a lot of recorded history is only the last 5 to 10,000 years. But we've existed as modern humans, as Homo sapiens, for 300,000 years. That means recorded history is only about 2% of human history. And we might be going through some growing pains as a species right now for a short period before we launch into a renaissance of human consciousness. We're in a dark age of consciousness, you could say, and we project that onto humanity itself. So, what would it be like, do you think, if humans evolved past the ego and were able to live in a higher state of consciousness that was based on harmony and unity? And honestly, just logical, because it's more logical to not want to hurt each other, right? We already produce enough food to feed 1.5 times the amount of the global population. So doesn't it just make sense that no one should be going hungry? So I have deep faith in humanity, and I also trust that we go through turbulent periods, but we're eventually going to reach a place where we can develop the systems to solve all the basic human needs on Earth and even go much farther beyond that. And I know that we will get there. It's just a matter of time. So some of us, including you watching this, are pushing the cutting edge of consciousness, venturing headfirst into this global shift where the path still looks like an overgrown jungle. So don't be afraid to keep pushing forward even when the terrain is unknown. And remember that you're not the only one. You have good company beside you as you usher in this shift in consciousness. And one of the main purposes for me creating these videos is to give you and others that are going through similar experiences a space to find community. So I'm glad that you found us. Thanks so much for watching today, and I'll see you soon.